Walk with me.
I will sing of the mercy and judgment unto thee, O Yahuwah. I will sing. I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. O when wilt thou come unto me? I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. A forward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. Whosoever privily slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off. Him that hath an high look and a proud heart will I not suffer. Mine eyes shall be upon the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with me. He that walketh in a perfect way, and he shall serve me. He that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. I will destroy all the wicked in the land, that I may cut off all wicked doers from the city of Yahuwah. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Those of you on this platform and those shared platforms, we thank God for you, and you. Yes, this is a blessed day. When somebody says be blessed, sometimes you're going to have to say, I'm happy. Because that's religious jargon. We have to get away from that stuff. Religious jargon. Be blessed. I'm blessed. I'm happy. Yes, God has made me happy. God has made me glad. I'm not sad. I'm blessed. No, I'm happy. Now you change the words and all that on them, they start looking at you like a little puppy that turns his head like that. So used to religious stuff, when people that say such a thing does not mean it. And so the Most High wants us just to be real. He wants us to be real people. I mean, regardless of who say what or what, many of us will be fake among the fake, because fake always show fake stuff. They always dress up and show a facade, a fake face, a fake clothing, and then go back home and still in the same fake attire, or get into their little short pants or their holy jeans and all these other things. No. If we're going to be one thing, let us be that everywhere we go. Yes. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me in my seed forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and 20, a pair of Abram. Yes. Again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you on this platform and those shared platforms. Yes, and we're coming from the book of Jasher. But before that, we want to say with a hand clap of praise, we thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning. Those of you that have just followed us, subscribed, and have been with us here and there's about and over here and there. And we thank God for those of you who have just subscribed or followed, and those of you that are about to subscribe or follow. Yes, we thank God for you, praising God for every day that you listen to this videos or these decasts or whatever you want to call them. But anyway, we thank God for you, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes. We praise God for all that he's done. Yeah, what you're hearing is, if I can get it back on, that is why I'm happy. Yes, that is why I'm happy. And that's by Corey Henry. I grew up with organ music and all those things, so that's about it. That's what I grew up with. And other than that, I can listen to anything, rap, country, it doesn't matter of the genre, what the words say. That's what means a lot, is the words. The words are spirit. Music affects the spirit, but words are spirit, because they come from your being. They come and they're like the wind, as the word said, ruach. It's like the wind. It affects us according to as we understand the words. Yes, so we're in the book of Jasher. Yes, the book of Jasher, and we're in chapter, well, we left off with chapter, I think it was 80. Yes, I think it's 80. Yeah, 80. because this one has quite a bit. Chapter 80. We're in the book of Jasher, chapter 80. You know, it's a good read when you're just sitting down on your couch or on your floor or wherever you have to sit in a place that's, you know, specifically that you use to read and meditate and study God's word. Yes, you can be sitting on your bed, your rolled bed, you know, those of you, you know, on the other continents, and some of you on the U.S. continent, or should I say American continent. You have beds that are different from that we have, you know, and wherever you meet God at, as far as meditation and reading his word and trying to get insight from the Most High. Yes. And so we're in the 80th chapter of Jasher, the 80th chapter of You Prepare. Now, what happened, God had sent plagues and everything, and also these plagues affected those that were aiding the Egyptians in their making the lives of the Israelites or the children of Jacob miserable. Same thing with slavers. You have sometimes if it comes to just doing your brother in, and if he's done nothing to deserve such a thing, to aid the oppressor, better to just die. Better to just die. Because the fact is that God's going to get you either way. You doing it because of advantage. In other words, I don't have to suffer this as long as I treat my brother like this to please him. Now, this has happened in many instances over on the continent. You got those countries that are still, as the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, stated, they go to do things when they take things from their people, they steal it from their people and they give it to their masters in order to receive very little back. And their people suffering, and here they are living lavishly in their chairs, their wives, their children, and their masters are steadily giving them all kind of mandates. They don't care about how the people suffer as long as the masters there are catering to their people. See, I think the people that do these things are foolish. You're just a big fool. Why are you going to take food and clothing and prosperity from the children of your fathers, your bloodline, and give them to someone? They're going to give you very little back, but they're blessing their children, their families, their bloodline. Foolish. And yet you say you're doing something. You're just selfish. You're devilishly selfish. And God, just like he's doing these people, going to do you the same way. Yes. And in the book of Jasher, chapter 80 and 38, and who had said, we will not go forth from Egypt? These same people, lest we perish with hunger in a desolate wilderness. And who would not hearken to the voice of Moses? In other words, they saying, we don't trust God. We don't trust Moses. We don't trust God. And some of you are so like, who do you trust? You trust a man because he wears good clothes. Or maybe he kept a few promise here or there. But mainly he's been taking money from you out of your churches and everything. You never prospered. You never got nothing. Even those things that you criticize, Islam and, you know, the nation of Islam, who have blessed the people and have caused hospitals and protection to happen in their neighborhoods and all these things, but yet you going to trust in nothing because you have respect of person. If your trust is in the Most High, it doesn't matter who's leading. He can be a bum or a vagabond. If his heart is toward God and God is using that person to, or should I say man most likely, to take you into a place that God has prepared for you, that's nothing. God has given you favor. See, apparently you do not trust God because you're looking at flesh. And St. Joseph suffered the same thing. He suffered to be in that prison for as long as he should have been there. And the iron plagued them in the 3 days of darkness, and the Israelites buried them in those days without the Egyptians knowing of them or rejoicing over them. These are the ones, the evil of your land, the one who comes to assassinate your presidents, the one who wants to give everything that you have, even those presidents that take from the people in their own bloodline and give it to someone else. They need to get their own. These are the people you need to take out of leadership, away from these things. Only those who care about and who believe in true democracy, which started in Africa. Yes, it did. Far as written, it started in Africa. As far as I know. Now, it could have been in America. Who knows? I don't know. But I know, according to Chancellor Williams, that form of democracy where the people spoke and the leaders listened. The king listened. Even in the Bible, you got where the people spoke. And even religious leaders, even God listened to the people. See, this is when God said in the book of Samuel, at the first few chapters, he says, they wanted a king like the other nations. What had happened? He listened to the people. God listened to him. He said, don't worry, Samuel. They have not rejected you. They rejected me. That's what he said. And the same thing that happened in Genesis, or should I say Exodus chapter 20, when they turned around and God said, well, you're going to be delivered, but you're going to have to do this, this, and this. They said, oh, that the I am said, that will we do. The people were given. That's true democracy. God's kingdom is democracy. But if your will is God's will, you're not going to go against what God wishes for you. You're not going to go against your neighbor. You're not going to do none of that because you have agreed that we're going to be ruled by the things of God. That's what your ancestors have done. You have agreed that you're going to be ruled by the things of God. So, now, verse 40. And the darkness was very great in Egypt for 3 days. And any person who was standing when the darkness came remained standing in his place. I don't blame you. And he that was sitting remained sitting. And he that was lying continued lying in the same state. And he that was walking remained sitting upon the ground in the same spot. And this thing happened to all the Egyptians until the darkness had passed. Have eyes and see, but cannot see. A dead darkness. I don't even think a blind man have seen such a dead darkness as that. I've been in dark where I've seen nothing. It's not an easy thing to navigate in the dead of darkness. No moon, no stars, no lights, not even an animal's eyes shining. Just dead darkness. It raises the hair on your head, though, when you first get into it. But the fact is, he says now in verse 41, and the days of darkness passed away, and the I am sent Moses and Aaron to the children of Israel, saying, celebrate your feast and make your Passover. Why did he say this? Because they're still stiff-necked. I'm finna deliver you now. Make your Passover. Behold, I come in the midst of the night amongst all the Egyptians, and I will smite all the firstborn, from the firstborn of man to the firstborn of a beast. Why did he do this? One of the pharaohs came back and was during the time of Moses where he destroyed the firstborn of Jacob. He destroyed the babies, the little young boys that they had. Only Moses was fortunate that he was saved, that God had a plan for him. Same thing with you. Yeah, your ancestors took the babies of those that were indigenous to the land and fed them to gators and cut their mother's stomach open and caused them to howl. Some of the mothers, because of the terror of night, had to smother their babies to death just to avert your armies from subduing their people, because the baby cried and the mother couldn't keep them still enough. In other words, instead of her being selfish, she remembered the people. the one for the many is what happened here. And he said, I will smite all their firstborn, from the firstborn of man to the firstborn of beast. God was angry, and he's angry with you. You that are descendants of those of the Arab slave trade and the evil that you do in your countries toward the children of Jacob, and not only them, but those that they are hidden among. Those of you that in the Americas, from South America to North America, that have done hideous things, have executed just for the color of their skin. Not only those who were indigenous, but those who are of the children of Jacob. Out of your evil, because you could. Yes, God's going to have you bumming us right out of here. Your offspring, the offspring of those ancestors, conquistadors. Yes. Oh, don't think you're getting away with it. Don't think you're getting away with Spain, Portugal. You're not getting away with it. Your offspring is going to suffer. You have been instrumental in a lot of things. Inquisitions, Grecia, Inquisition, Rome. You have been even more instrumental. Oh, yes, God has a wrath. He's going to pour it out to the last drop. In other words, just like Folgers coffee. It's going to be poured out to the last drop, and it's going to be good to the people of God to see their enemies slaughtered. A righteous judgment upon them. Oh, some of you don't like this, but you will still behave yourself as you do because you don't believe it. Now, let's continue. He says, and the children of Israel did according to all that the I Am commanded Moses and Aaron, and thus did in that night. And it came to pass in the middle of the night that the I Am went forth in the midst of Egypt. Now the Passover, you read, now how do you do the Passover? Many of you do it wrong. Go to the book of Jubilees. See, this is why they cast the book out. The book of Jubilees, or the book of, even in the book of Jasher, it tells you exactly how to conduct the Passover. In other words, the lamb is going to live with you, among you, or whatever. It's going to feel comfortable. This is what they did with you. This is how they did you. Isn't it true? You came into the land of Egypt. You were there. You were among them. You felt like you were a part of them until things changed. Then they start deleting you. Same thing with this lamb. He's going to feel he's a part of you, getting on your nerves and everything else. And then one day you're going to take them and you're going to delete them. But you're not going to cook them in the oven, neither are you going to have lamb chops. I don't know where you get that from. See that you build the temple according to the pattern shown. See, this is where the people of the Most High have to come together. Or you're just going to leave it alone. You take that lamb or that ram or whatever you have of that, and you take him and you put something in him. You're going to get his hair off, just like you would do any animal, and you're going to take him and you're going to roast him over a fire. This is the only way God says this. You're not over no barbecue briquettes. You done put some rosemary on you. Yeah, with bitter herbs, he said. Bitter herbs. Rosemary or whatever that you like your lamb with. You throw that on him or stuff it in his empty belly that you done gutted and burnt the innards outside your living quarters or outside your camps. Not eating the innards. No, you're not supposed to eat liver. Liver is what help produce blood. Liver is nothing but, if you look at it, solidified blood. It's blood. You cannot cook liver and it's blood. It's just like blood sausage. Let's call it as we see it. Blood. Liver is nothing. God even tells them what to do with the liver. Take the liver and the caul out. Burn them without the camp. The gallbladder. That's what he's talking about. It says burn them without the camp. These things contain blood. And that's what you're eating, about pure blood when you eat liver. I'm gonna have me just some chicken liver. Or I'm gonna have me just some cow liver. We're gonna chop it up. And then those of you that really don't matter, you're gonna eat your little hog liver or whatever you call it. This is why many of you age so quickly and you're so full of diseases and some of everything. You're not eating God's way. To even say, God, I've eaten the way you told me to eat. Why am I sick? These things you should pray. I've eaten the way you told me to eat. You said this was unclean. You said this was clean. I've eaten only clean animals. What else? I'm sick. Why am I sick, God? You hold that thing up to his face and you tell him. Guaranteed God's going to straighten it out. Sometimes you are tested. See whether you believe such a thing or not. But let's continue. It said, even the bones of their firstborn who had died before this, whom they had buried in their houses, were raked up by the dogs of Egypt on that night and dragged before the Egyptians and cast before them. God went through this place. Let me read that other part. Also, the likeness of the firstborn which were carved in the walls at their houses were destroyed and fell to the ground. We'll go a little bit further then. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, and had he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry throughout Egypt in that night, for there was not a house in which there was not a corpse. Also the likeness of the firstborn of Egypt, which were carved at their houses, which were destroyed and fell to the ground, and even the bones of their firstborn who had died before this, and whom they had buried in their houses, were raked up. I'm in verse 46 now. By the dogs of Egypt on that night, and dragged before the Egyptians and cast before them. In other words, God instructed the dogs to even do things. He hated Egypt so. Your 66 Greek backwards book even tells you about what it tells you. Nothing. It just gives you a brief sentence. But this shows the detestable, how God detested the Egyptians. This is why Egypt is overran, desolate. Those that are compared to dogs and all kind of manner of doleful and unclean beasts, though even human beings are there. They have taken it over. They ran it over. These people are detestable to the Most High. I don't care what religion they claim. This is who he gave it to. And these same people hate those of that hue. So they treat you like dogs in many ways. You're less than them, even though they were the dogs. Read the book of History of the Hebrews and Arabs by Gert Mueller and Anu Bantu. Get it. You can get it on Audible, or you can get it on Kindle, or whatever bookstore that might carry these things. But you're not going to get it at no Christian. A lot of these books you will never see at a Christian bookstore, because it is what you call that racial supremacy that they would have. It's controlled by racial supremacy. And the only thing they would show is the Caesar Borgia. That's it. That's all they would show. That's all they would sell, things that's containing Caesar Borgia, or maybe some historical book or something. But in a Christian bookstore, or even a bookstore or a syndicated bookstore, you will not find those things that are specifically for the Israelite or the African or any black person, or should I say status-wise black person. Nothing. They control it. You go up there smiling with your little, what you call it, slave mentality grin. Yes, sir, yes, sir. They gonna smile with you, but they're not gonna sell you nothing that benefits you or tells you the truth. No, they're gonna sell you everything that their authors are the ones they accepted, that glorifies them and puts you down. Even the slave history that they tell is to make themselves feel good. All these, from Cook Roots and Amistad and all these things, This is not for you, black man. This was for them. Come on, him. Made them feel good. But what makes you feel good when you know your true history? This was just a bad spot in your history. But nevertheless, let us continue. He says, now, even the bones of their firstborn who had died before this and whom they had buried in their houses were raked up by the dogs of Egypt on that night and dragged before the Egyptians and cast before them. God detested him. Verse 47. And all the Egyptians saw this evil which had suddenly come upon them, and all the Egyptians cried out with a loud voice. The cry was loud, the screams. And all the families of Egypt wept upon that night, each man for his son, each man for his daughter, being the firstborn, and the tumult of Egypt was heard at a distance on that night. In other words, surrounding nations can hear the cry of Egypt. And Bathia, the daughter of Pharaoh, that's not her name. There's some old colonizers put up there, Bathia, Bathsheba. Why is her name taken with Bath? Because they couldn't understand or pronounce their name. That's what it is. Now, went forth with the king on that night to seek Moses and Aaron. Y'all got to get out of here now. In their houses. In other words, they were in their houses. They knew the death, this angel that causes death. Now, death is caused by many things, but this was an angel that directed those things that would cause the death of these people. Powerful angel. He did not look to the left or right, only did that which God had commanded that angel. That's it, or that messenger that causes death. There are many angels or spirits that cause death, yes. But death is also caused by many things. Sickness, disease, war, murders, all manner of things. Now, whatever this angel did to cause the death of these Egyptians could stop their hearts, could have stopped their breathing, could have collapsed their lungs, could have been anything. And they found them in their houses eating and drinking and rejoicing. Woo! When the world is in chaos, when war is on every hand, when the wrath of God is about to be brought upon the earth, where are you going to find the children of Israel and those who come around? Why y'all drinking and eating? Oh, that's them Old Testament folk. Yeah, you go on and talk about your Jesus or whatever you want to talk about. They done pumped your head up so bad for years, and God have not delivered you because you're stubborn and stiff-necked. You like your sin more than you like God, the real God. For some reason, this guy was a prophet. I don't know his name. Yes, he had said words. But these people have pumped this thing up so to cause you believe that this was actually an event that, as they narrated, is so. Because there's no way a girl, Miriam, who was a Levite, was going to even marry Joseph, to tell you the truth. This was a Levitical girl. And she had to be raised to marry a Levite man. Now, this is just some backwards stuff. See, this is thing backwards all the way. Levites could only marry Levites. That was it. But the other nations of Israel or Jacob could marry whom they will within their nation. Now, you also have those who were of the tribe of Judah. They say Joseph was of the tribe of Judah, right? How in the world would a man that really adheres to the law, I don't care what spirit or whatever comes, and they tell you something other than what the law has told you, they're a liar. He found Mary with child, but yet a doggone angel gonna come his way saying that angel is Gabriel. Oh, don't worry about it. This spirit just had jacked up. He knocked up Mary, and now you just go ahead and marry. You're going to have another man's baby or another spirit's baby. You be the father of that. Even before him told him he was not the father. You think a real Joseph was going to be stupid enough to marry such a woman? I don't care how God tell me to marry some woman knocked up. It's not by me and she's supposed to be married to me. You getting out of my house. And if it's in the country of Israel, you're going to be put and burnt to the fire. You and the baby. You're wrong. That's foolish. See, this is how dark our minds, and your mind is enslaved. Your mind has been, so much psychosis has been put on your mind that this thing has been so embedded in your mind that you can't fathom of how the lie is told right before you. The lie is told before you. The whole Jesus scenario, even in the New Testament, is a big lie. You can't see for looking. Your eyes have not been opened. And for those of you that God would open your eyes, even those of you who call yourself Hebrew Israelites, how in the hell you gonna go about the law and still believe on this Jesus? Huh? That he was whom they say he is. His name wasn't Jesus. His name wasn't even named Yahweh or Yahweh. Think. Understand and know God. But what you know of God, behold, God, he doesn't change. See and know beside me there is no other God. I am he who kill, make alive, I wound, and I am he that can heal. No one can escape my hand of power, God says. How in the world, or this hellish world, God is going to allow a demigod, as the Greeks put it, to take over his throne? How in the hellish world Stephen is going to stand up and say, I see Jesus standing by. He must have been drunk with wine, standing by the throne of God. Yeah, I wouldn't blame him. Come on his head and whomp his head like he and throw his butt in the fire somewhere and bash him with stones until he died. Because the fact is, if that was Stephen, he was lying, not according to the word of the Most High. I digress, because I can keep going. Let me try to finish this up. Now, this false name Bathia said to Moses, this is the reward for the good which I have done to thee, who have reared thee and stretched thee out. And thou hast brought this evil upon me in my father's house. And Moses said to her, surely 10 plagues did the I am bring upon Egypt. Did any evil occur to thee from any of them? Did any one of them affect thee? She said, no. In other words, it was about you. It wasn't about your people. And Moses said to her, although thou art the firstborn to thy mother, thou shalt not die, and no evil shall reach thee in the midst of Egypt. And she said, what advantages it to me when I see the king, my brother, and all his households and subjects in this evil, whose firstborn perish, with all the firstborn of Egypt? And Moses said unto her, surely thy brother and his household and subjects, the families of Egypt, would not hearken to the words of the I am. Therefore did this evil come upon them. And Moses and Pharaoh, king of Egypt, approached Moses and Aaron and some of the children of Israel who were with them in that place. And he prayed to them, saying, what does prayed mean in Old English? Prayed mean talk to. Have you talked to God? Have you listened to God? Understand what you're talking about. Oh, I'll pray for you. I'm going to talk for you. You're going to talk to God for you. Somebody say, talk to God for me. Half of you half dim-witted religious folks going to look at him like a puppy with his head turned sideways. So therefore, many have to say prayed in order for you to understand. I could say pray. You go to a regular church and you say, I'm going to talk to God for you. They're going to look at you crazy. But if you say pray, they don't even know what the word prayer means. Tell you the truth, ask them. But either way, Verse 56, he says, rise up, take your brethren and all the children of Israel who are in the land with their sheep and oxen. You notice the movie, The Ten Commandments with Charleston Heston. They had her in there. They went by this book. This is what they went by. Many of you that saw the movie and you understand it vividly, you're going to see that they saved his Egyptian surrogate mother or his Egyptian foster mother. Yes, with their sheep and oxen and all belonging to them, and they shall leave nothing remaining. Only pray for me to the I am your God. This is what she said to him. And Moses said, even Pharaoh, to Pharaoh, behold, though thou art thy mother's firstborn, yet fear not, for thou wilt not die. For the I am has commanded that thou shalt live, in order to show thee his great might and strong stretched out arm. Why does God allow the colonizer to live? Why does he allow the Arabs that's so evil toward the children of Jacob to live? To even do the things that they do? Because there's going to come a time where, just as he said here, in order to show thee, you Arab man who hates the hue of the black man's skin, and they done lied to you and told you he's forever a servant or a slave. You, those of you who are of Caucasoid descent and have been among those who have colonized and enslaved the children of the slavers of Europe and Spain and Portugal and South America, that hate those of a darker hue. Oh, you got straight hair. You think you all that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know even how to do that. Even Chinese and Japanese. You hate them. But for those who have really instrumental into this thing, I'm not even going to the Chinese and Japanese. They had nothing to do with this, really. Although they want to be identified with them, they're going to suffer whatever God has for them. But either way, he says he might show his might and strong stretched out arm. And with that, we're going to say peace.
Walk with me.